The first warning came during orientation week at the Galactic Naval Academy. Cadet Marcus Chen sat among his diverse classmates, tentacled Zephyrians, crystalline Velites, and the ethereal morphic beings who shifted between states of matter, like living aurora. Commander Zalth, a towering insectoid with compound eyes that reflected the sterile academy lights, addressed the assembled cadets with the gravity of someone who had seen too much. Sleep integration protocols are mandatory for all species. The commander clicked through his translator. The neural synchronization chambers will harmonize your dream states during deep space missions. Be warned, some minds are not compatible with the collective unconscious network. Marcus raised his hand, the gesture causing several alien classmates to flinch. Humans were still new to the Galactic Alliance, and their unpredictable nature made many species nervous. "What happens if someone's incompatible?" Marcus asked. Commander Zalth's antennae twitched, the equivalent of a concerned frown. Psychological, contamination, shared nightmares. In severe cases, complete neural breakdown of the entire crew. His gaze fixed on Marcus. Humans are particularly susceptible to intense dream states. We recommend remedial sleep conditioning before attempting integration. Marcus nodded politely but privately dismissed the concern. How bad could alien nightmares really be? 3 weeks later, he discovered the answer during his first mandatory sleep sync with his squad. As the neural crown descended over his head, Marcus felt the familiar tingle of the interface connecting to his temporal lobe. The chamber hummed to life, and consciousness began to blur at the edges. The shared dreamscape materialized as a vast, empty corridor aboard a derelict ship. His squadmates were there. Zekra the Zephyrian, whose tentacles normally pulsed with bioluminescent patterns, now hung limp and gray. Quill, the Velite whose crystal form usually sang with harmonic frequencies, stood silent and fractured. Nim the Morphic had solidified into a rigid, colorless mass. Then the nightmare began. It started as whispers in the walls, voices of the long-dead crew members who had once walked these halls. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, speaking of isolation, of the crushing vastness of space, of dying alone in the dark between stars. Shadows moved without forms to cast them, and the temperature dropped until their breath became visible mist. Marcus watched his alien squadmates begin to tremble. Zekra's tentacles curled defensively around her torso. Quill's crystalline structure began to resonate with fear frequencies that created an agonizing harmonic discord. Nim flickered between states uncontrollably. The nightmare escalated. The corridor began to stretch, becoming impossibly long, and gravity reversed randomly, sending them tumbling through dimensions that shouldn't exist. Phantom hands reached through the walls, grasping at them with desperate hunger. The air itself became toxic with the psychic residue of madness. But Marcus felt underwhelmed. This was it? This was what had Commander Zalth so concerned? As his squadmates cowered from spectral apparitions and reality-bending horror, Marcus found himself analyzing the dream's construction with detached curiosity. The fear was manufactured, theatrical even. It lacked the raw, primal terror he knew from his own sleeping mind. Without thinking, Marcus took control. The shared dreamscape shifted, and suddenly his squadmates found themselves in a different kind of nightmare entirely. They stood in a small suburban house on Earth, unremarkable, mundane, almost comforting after the cosmic horror they'd just experienced. Then they heard the footsteps upstairs. Heavy, deliberate, wrong. Zekra's translator couldn't process what she was feeling because her species had no concept for it. The Zephyrians were a collective consciousness race. They had never experienced true isolation, never felt the terror of being utterly alone with something that wanted to hurt them. But now, in Marcus's nightmare, she understood the uniquely human fear of the monster in your own home, the betrayal of safety, the knowledge that nowhere, absolutely nowhere, was truly secure. Quill's crystalline form began to crack as the harmonic frequencies of domestic terror, creaking floorboards, settling walls, the whisper of something breathing just outside perception, invaded her consciousness. Her species lived in perfect crystal cities, where every sound was musical, where dissonance was literally impossible. The organic chaos of a human home at night, full of settling wood and shifting shadows, was an assault on her very being. Nim tried to shift states to escape, but found that Marcus's nightmare had rules that didn't allow such easy exits. The Morphic discovered what it meant to be trapped in a single form, vulnerable and exposed, while something with intimate knowledge of your habits and routines stalked you through familiar spaces turned threatening. The nightmare deepened. A child's laughter echoed from empty rooms. Family photos on the walls watched them with eyes that followed their movement. The comfortable suburban home became a maze of false memories and corrupted nostalgia, where every door led to another door, and every window showed the same empty street under the same dead streetlight. This wasn't cosmic horror. This was intimate horror, personal horror, the terror of being known by something that meant you harm, the violation of sanctuary, the realization that the call was coming from inside the house, metaphorically and literally. Marcus's human unconscious had evolved alongside predators and prey, shaped by millions of years of survival, in a world where death could come from anywhere, at any time, wearing any face. His nightmares weren't about abstract concepts of cosmic isolation. They were about the concrete reality that safety was always an illusion, that trust could always be betrayed, that the greatest monsters were often the ones who looked just like you. The sleep integration alarm woke them with jarring suddenness. The neural crowns retracted, and Marcus opened his eyes to find his squad mates staring at him with a mixture of awe and terror. Zekra's bioluminescent patterns were still, dim with shock. Quill's crystal form had hairline fractures that would take days to heal. Nim remained rigidly solid, apparently too traumatized to shift forms. What? Quill finally whispered through her translator. Was that place? Home, Marcus replied simply. Commander Zalth appeared beside their sleep chambers, his compound, eyes reflecting concern. Cadet Chen, your neural output during integration was unprecedented. We detected psychological contamination levels we've never recorded before. Marcus sat up slowly, running a hand through his hair. Sorry, sir, I guess I got a little carried away. Carried away? The commander's antennae twitched rapidly. Cadet, you didn't just resist our standard nightmare protocols. You overwrote them entirely. Your unconscious mind treated our most advanced psychological warfare simulations like a warm-up exercise. Around the sleep bay, other cadets from different squads were waking up screaming. Somehow, Marcus's nightmare had leaked beyond their immediate group, contaminating multiple neural networks simultaneously. The Academy's medical staff rushed between chambers, administering emergency psychological stabilizers to dozens of traumatized alien cadets. Sir, Marcus said carefully, perhaps humans should undergo individual sleep training before group integration. Commander Zalth looked at the chaos around them. Alien species known for their mental fortitude reduced to quivering masses by a single human subconscious, and made a decision that would reshape Academy policy forever. Cadet Chen, he clicked solemnly, you're being transferred to Advanced Psychological Warfare Division, effective immediately. Marcus nodded, already knowing that humanity had just revealed another unexpected advantage in their integration with the galactic community. They hadn't just survived their nightmares, they had weaponized them. As he gathered his belongings, Marcus caught Zekra's worried gaze. Her tentacles were finally beginning to regain their natural bioluminescence, but her eyes held a new understanding of what it meant to be human. They had warned him about nightmares, they just hadn't expected him to bring his own.